What really happened that night? Surveillance cameras revealed something that not even the army was prepared to know. Jungkook is caught secretly entering Taehyung's house, unknown to anyone. But what is he doing inside? And why did Taehyung choose to remain silent after everything was revealed? This is a sign of friendship, or vice versa, a secret that has been hidden all this time, on camera? Jungkook secretly enters Taehyung's house without anyone knowing, just revealed. This is what Jungkook does at Taehyung's house when no one is around. Nobody was ready for this. Not the army. Not even those who most faithfully follow BTS's every step. Not even the fans who have believed that the relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung is something pure, honest, and without secrets. But on a quiet night, unannounced, and without an official statement, something shocking is captured by a hidden camera in the corner of the house that is supposed to be a sanctuary, Taehyung's house. And the figure caught on camera was no one but Jungkook himself. The question now is not just why, but what actually happened after that door closed? And even more disturbing, does Taehyung know? If so, why did he choose to remain silent? The footage did not come from major media outlets. He first appeared on a small account that didn't even have more than 10,000 followers before the video went viral in just 3 hours. The 1-minute 37-second video shows a silhouette of a man wearing a black hoodie, his face barely visible, but his gestures are too familiar to those who have known Jungkook's body language for a long time. He entered through the back door, looked left and right, then disappeared into the darkness of the house whose lights had clearly been turned off. There are no vehicles parked in front. There was no other sound. There were no signs that someone was waiting for him inside. Then, why is he there? The question quickly developed into a storm of opinion. Some call this a sign of emotional separation. Some have suggested that Jungkook may be trying to apologize for something very personal. But what was most surprising was the speculation that the visit was part of something much more complicated than mere nostalgia or reconciliation, because a few hours before the video appeared, Taehyung uploaded an Instagram story with just one sentence: "Not all who enter will be accepted back." Is it directed at Jungkook? Are there any quarrels that have been hidden from the public so far? Or is it about something much more emotional that only the two of them can understand? The army was divided. Some wept because they considered this a symbol of the end of the closeness of which they had been so proud. There are also those who actually see hope that the two are still visiting each other secretly, looking for a way to return without the public spotlight. But one thing cannot be denied: the tape is real. And the expression captured on camera on Jungkook's face in the final seconds of the video, as he turns to the camera before disappearing from view, shows more than just shock. He looked sad. An unidentified source, who claimed to be a former security staff of Taehyung's house, said that the back door of the house could only be opened with a special code. Nobody knows the code except Taehyung and one or two of his closest people, he said in an anonymous interview. If Jungkook can get in, it means Taehyung hasn't changed his code. He wanted Jungkook to come in. But what Jungkook did while inside the house remains a mystery. The camera footage only shows the moment he entered. No follow-up footage, no sound, and no evidence that he was carrying anything. But a few days after the incident, ARMY begins to notice subtle changes in Taehyung's behavior. He suddenly deleted some old posts containing memorable photos with Jungkook. He also stopped liking tweets that mentioned Taehyung. Does this mean something happened that night? Something is not going as planned. Then came a new recording. This time it was from a next-door neighbor's camera that accidentally recorded a light coming on in one of Taehyung's rooms about 20 minutes after Jungkook entered. The lamp lights up for 7 minutes, then turns off. No sound. No other movement. But after that, the camera again captured the same silhouette leaving the house, unhurried, but clear, hollow. Could they meet inside? Or did Jungkook just leave something, a letter, a piece of memory, or even an apology? What makes the situation even more mysterious is the attitude of Big Hit, who chose silence. There is no clarification, no statement. And even more confusingly, when a journalist asked Taehyung directly in a closed-door charity event 2 days after the viral footage, he only answered one sentence, with a flat smile: "Some memories, it is better not to reopen." What does that mean? Is this a sign that their past carries wounds that have not yet healed? Or is there a mistake so big that even the door of the house is no longer wide enough to accommodate an apology? Jungkook himself has yet to respond. He remained active on the music platform, briefly greeting fans via live streaming, but did not mention Taehyung's name or the events of the night. But some observant fans captured one unusual moment during the live. Jungkook paused, stared blankly at the camera, then spoke softly. Sometimes, when you think it's over, you realize nothing has started yet. Is this code? Or the deepest feelings that he cannot convey directly? Questions kept coming up like a stream that couldn't be stopped. Who really knows what's going on? Is the army too quick to draw conclusions? Or is there a truth that is deliberately hidden from the public? And if there really is conflict, why is it so deep that it needs to be hidden in the shadows of night? More than just a tape, it's a snippet of a much bigger story about friendship, hurt, hope, and maybe farewell. And as the whole world waits for an official statement that never comes, one thing is certain. That night, in Taehyung's dark and lonely house, something happens. Something that could change everything. If the night is the beginning of something great, then the morning after is confusion without direction. Armies around the world are divided in many speculations, some trying to appease each other, while others are only getting more agitated by the unnatural silence of the two idols. What used to be a warm interaction between Taehyung and Jungkook has now turned into a suspicious silence.
No mention.
There are no repost stories. There is no like sign. Several large fan bases began to trace the timeline of the interaction of the two since the last few months. Apparently, their moments of togetherness have indeed begun to be rarely seen since their return from military service. Although previously rumored to be close and had shared a rehearsal room during rehearsals for the Welcome event, the reality behind the scenes was different. In one of the behind-the-scenes videos that was uploaded by BTS's official channel, there is one small part that almost went unnoticed by the public. As the other members joked and laughed together, the camera briefly captured the flat expression of Taehyung standing some distance away from Jungkook, his eyes looking the other way. That little moment a sign that some distance is beginning to form. And if it's true that Jungkook tried to visit Taehyung's house secretly, is that a form of apology that can't be said directly? The following week, a new clue appeared. One of the anonymous accounts on Platform X, formerly Twitter, leaked a 12-second snippet of a voicemail believed to be Taehyung's voice. In the footage, a man's voice in a heavy but emotionally stressful tone says, "You can't come here as if everything is fine. That's not the way it is." No names were mentioned, but the style of speech, intonation, and emotional pauses between the words, too similar to Taehyung, was the message directed at Jungkook. Furthermore, the account claims that the voice snippet came from a personal voice memo that was once stored on Taehyung's old phone. So, how did the memo leak? Did someone deliberately leak it? And what is its purpose? Meanwhile, Jungkook appears to be in an unusual state. In an exclusive interview for the promotion of his latest music project, he appeared nervous and avoided personal questions. When a reporter tried to slip in a question about who he would most like to meet after returning from the military, he answered with an ambiguous phrase, "There is a person I want to see, but I don't think he is ready to see me." The statement immediately became a hot topic. Fans began to connect the statement with the recording of the evening. Did Jungkook visit Taehyung's house without permission? Did he just want to leave something behind? Did he expect to meet, but was not invited in? Then came the most shocking surprise. One of the soldiers claimed to have seen a courier come to Taehyung's house 3 days after Jungkook's mysterious visit. He was carrying a large package labeled with the sender's name, John Jungkook. It is not known what the package contained, but fans who captured the moment from afar saw the courier's face looked confused and a little doubtful when leaving the house. No one opened the door. Packages are simply placed in front of the door. But what gives goosebumps even more is what happened the next day. The package disappeared. Many wondered, did Taehyung finally open it? Or did someone take it? If it's from Jungkook, what's in the package? Letters? A piece of memory? Something that can bring back memories of their past. Then, like dousing a fire with gasoline, Taehyung uploaded a story in the form of an old painting, a narrow street with dim lights, and a figure standing alone at the end of the hallway. The caption is just one short sentence. You. No one thought that a short recording at night would change everything. But in reality, Jungkook's one step into Taehyung's house without anyone knowing it has opened up old wounds that the two may have been trying to hide. And the more the days go by, the clearer it becomes that this is not just a matter of ordinary visits. This is part of a much deeper story and painful. Shortly after Taehyung's post about "You came too slowly," the internet was again rocked by a shocking fact spread from Army International's private forum. One of the forum moderators mentioned that he had received a leaked message from a recording studio staff where Taehyung had spent a few days before the incident. In the message, the staff claimed that Taehyung had written the lyrics to a song that was not released with a working title, "Shadow at My Door." The lyrics contain sentences that make many people cry. "He came when I was already learning to let go, but my heart refused to let go. Doors closed not out of hate, but because there are too many wounds behind it." Was the song written for Jungkook? Or is it just a coincidence? ARMY couldn't help but dive deeper and connect every word to the events of that night. Then came a new clue that was even more surprising. A longtime stylist who worked for BTS during the promotion of Map of the Soul, Seven, gave a shocking statement anonymously to a Korean media channel. A lot of people think Taehyung and Jungkook always get along. But once one night after a big rehearsal, they both disappeared for more than 2 hours. When they returned, the two did not speak to each other. The days after were cold. Something has never been solved since then. This made many fans start digging back into their old moments. Old videos, fan cams, old interviews, little interactions that used to be considered jokes, now viewed in a new way. Even the sweet moments when they laughed together on BTS's Bon Voyage or Run now turn into emotional puzzle pieces that leave wounds. What exactly happened in their past? Why is there such a deep wound that secretly entering someone's home can be considered an emotional violation? Dan, why is all this being exposed now? What is most heart-wrenching is how the other members react, which indirectly also shows that they know more than they reveal. Seekjin, who is usually known for his cuteness, had said in his live broadcast, "Sometimes it's better not to know everything, because when you know, you can only cry." Suga, in one of his podcasts, mentioned that the relationship between the members is not always perfect. "We are like a family, but even family can be hurt by caring too much. Sometimes you hurt people you love, not because you hate them, but because you don't know how to express your pain." Is this an implied message about Jungkook and Taehyung's situation? Namjoon also looks different. He doesn't directly address anything, but in the poem he uploaded to Weverse, one verse seems to represent a lost voice. "You came in silence, but the sound of your footsteps is like a storm. This house is still standing, but is there still room for you in it?" The people who read it cried, because those words feel like love letters, or maybe a farewell letter that Jungkook never got to send to Taehyung. Or vice versa. Meanwhile, fans waiting for clarification from Big Hit had to face a harsh reality. The agency remained silent. Some suspect that they are deliberately allowing the public to speculate, in the hope that the issue will sink by itself. But not this time. Not when involved are two members who from the outset are described as two sides of the same mirror. And the pressure is starting to feel. A few days after all this rolled around, Jungkook was seen walking alone in Incheon Airport with a very different face than usual. No hoodie covering up, no sunglasses. Only he and a tired expression on his face. One of the reporters asked, "Are you okay, Jungkook?" But he did not answer. Just stare for a moment, then smile a little. A smile that looks more like a wow than happiness. Fans began to wonder, did she go to get away from all this? Or is he chasing something? Maybe Taehyung, because on the same day, news emerged that Taehyung had also disappeared from the public radar. He was not present at the brand ambassador event that had been scheduled well in advance. Even his manager refused to comment. Both disappeared the same day, and everyone wondered, is this a coincidence, or have they finally met? Not only because both disappeared from the public spotlight, but because every second that passed felt like one long breath holding the entire army from around the world in a room full of unanswered questions. No news.
No uploads.
There was no interaction from anyone. It was as if BTS's own world was in a frozen state. But it was in that silence that an unexpected surprise came from where no one expected it. A CCTV camera